Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast. Every successful online business entrepreneur has an incredible story to share about their journey to success. Listen and learn from top digital mavericks and online business insiders as they share their secrets so you can live the lifestyle you deserve. Your pilots for today's journey, Rob Fortney and Nick Niman. Welcome aboard, passengers. The digital journey begins now.
Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast, navigating your online business voyage. I'm Rob Fortney from the Amazon Gorillas, and my partner and YouTube extraordinaire, Nick Niman. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Rob. Thank you very much. I'm excited to get this show rolling today as usual. And just to go ahead and put it out there, today's show is brought to you by the Empire Flippers. They help you buy and sell websites and online businesses. In a nutshell, they take the friction out of buying and selling websites.
All right, so today's show, we've got a very special guest, a amazing digital entrepreneur, and his name is Matt Diggity. And Matt is in the SEO business and the affiliate business, and he's been doing this for several years and has sold several of these businesses, and we're going to talk about how he's done that and his journey to become a digital entrepreneur. How are you doing today, Matt?
Doing very good. It's a pleasure to be here, an honor to be an honor, actually.
Well, we're glad to have you. I mean, we love to hear stories about digital entrepreneurs, and that's really what the podcast is about, is just sharing how you got here. And really, we talked about a little bit before the show is the emotionalness of the journey, and now I was excited to hear that that you're excited to share that part of it, because I think our emotions and our feelings about how this thing control a lot of our success and what we do in this business. So give me some background. Tell me how you got here. Tell me where you started out prior to really becoming into the digital online area. So give me your backstory.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, your typical rat race engineer. So I went to UC San Diego. I got a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and then got the master's degree as well. And that's what I did for years and years and years, about 7 years total in the field. And well, most people might say that, it was a good life and was making six-figure salary. For me, it just didn't feel right. I never really was a true American in the sense where I was a big consumer. So making a lot of money, working long hours, and never had the reward part of it. And I just eventually started to get burnt out. And, 60-hour weeks were pretty normal at my job.
That's rough.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
So what were you doing on a daily basis? Like you got up in the morning, you went to work at 7 a.m. and you were living in California?
California, in San Diego. The company I work for is like typical Silicon Valley software company.
Okay.
But I was in the field, in San Diego.
So you get up and you go visit businesses and work on their software at their computers at their offices or whatever it might be.
Yeah, pretty much. So we sold the software that was used to help people make microchips. So like the microchips in your computer right here, or the microchips in my phone.
Right.
And the software is super complicated, and our customers are like Qualcomm, Intel, Broadcom, like these big tech beasts. Right. You go to their office and the software breaks all the time. You fix it, you run demos, you do pre-sales, stuff like that. Really awesome stuff.
Yeah, sounds exciting, right?
Life was rolling. But you were in San Diego, so it's a nice place to live.
No complaints about the location, absolutely.
Okay, so you're doing that, but you're working 60 hours a week. And you, like you said, you're not getting the reward, so you're putting all this time in, you've got this money, but I think the key here, and that's one of the things I talk to people about in their digital journey is the first thing you've got to do, if you're going to make a commitment to make money online, you've got to get over the stuff. Like, lots of times we were even chatting about kind of some of the people here who come out here, and the image of the I'm a rock star and I'm standing on top of my car with my supermodel girlfriend is really not the typical way in which this happens. It's not the way this works. It's real work. It's a much more enjoyable lifestyle, but getting stuck in that stuff is really what can keep you from being successful, probably more than anything. And that probably helped you more than anything to not be stuck into having things and possessions and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's some part of me that was innately not attracted to the fancy car and all that, right. But still, it's not like a really easy task to just unplug and sell all these pieces of furniture and this couch that I bought and all these books and like all these things that you think you're going to need for your whole life. But
you're shocked at how much stuff you actually have when you start trying to peel it off, especially when we'll get to the point when you left, because obviously we're hanging out in Chiang Mai, Thailand right now. So at some point you got rid of a lot of your stuff. So here you are, you're working day to day, you're doing your deal, and you're on the hamster wheel, and you're not going anywhere because you just keep going round and round. It's chase the deal, and out there it's expensive to live. Just to roll around costs a lot of money to live in San Diego, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So what happens? What day inspires you? Like, what's the event that says, okay, I'm out, I'm done? And like, what does that day look like?
There's a couple of them. Okay,
great.
so round one, I think this is probably about 2007. It wasn't like a day. Actually, it was a day.
All right, let's hear about the
Here it
day.
comes. Yeah,
it was a day. So it was building up. You know, I'm at my office and just not feeling great about what I'm doing, and I'm seeing my whole life ahead of myself, thinking, okay, I'm not enjoying this in my 20s. Like, how am I gonna last all the way to, you know, the 60s, whatever retirement age is now? And I went to Subway, and I'm like watching these guys making my sandwich. And I was like, dude, there's a really good chance these guys are happier than me, you know, with nice.
That's heavy.
Nice, simple job, you know, just making people sandwiches, but at least they're not freaking stressed out and, you know, have people yelling at them and making other people, well, they are making other people rich, but it's just like, wow, I'm pretty sure that whatever I'm doing isn't the solution, at least for me, yeah. And
so lunch at Subway,
and then I put in my notice like later that afternoon.
With no plan.
Nice.
Like, no way how I'm gonna make money or what my next trip is. You're just like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
You're willing to work at Subway if necessary.
Yes, I just
you're like, I'll go be happy.
No, just kidding.
You're like, hey, well, I'm here. I'm going to join this crew.
I'm
Sandwich artist here. I go.
No sandwich artistry for me. Not very right brained. But so I put in my notice, and then like you said, I had no plan. And I just decided to do the opposite of being an engineer, and I went and traveled. This was my first time to Thailand on that trip, and I went to India as well. Learned how to be a yoga teacher, which I'm pretty sure is the opposite of being an engineer.
Yeah,
that would be the opposite of being. I
think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think
I'm on board with that one.
Upside down version of an engineer.
Yeah, so did that for a while, but eventually I did get sucked back into engineering. I was ready to hit the road at that point. When I was learning yoga, I met a girl, and she wasn't comfortable with, you know, packing up and being a freak like me. So so I had to stay in San Diego, and that shit's expensive. So went back into the engineering job, but eventually had another freak out, and it was kind of the same, and just packed up and went straight to Chiang Mai.
So let's get to we get to the second freak out. Okay. I got a girl. The girl thingy, obviously, at some point that ain't working out because she's not here with you unless she's a girl, unless you brought her with you, and I don't think that's the case. So you get there the second time because you jump back up on the hamster wheel. It's the same. You're seeing the same vision. You know, they got the same TV screens in front of you. Yeah. And so you're walking through. Now you got to the second deal. Now you're jumping off again. So you jump off the hamster wheel again. Okay, boom. Now what happens? Did you go to travel at that point again, or did you have where's the online business start in this process? Okay,
so during this stint at like teaching yoga and traveling and stuff, I did start playing around with SEO a little bit and started to make some residual income. Definitely not enough to survive in San Diego, but enough to survive in Chiang Mai. So I always fell in love with Chiang Mai whenever I was traveling. I knew this place felt like home to me. And so when I quit the second time around, I basically just sold all my shit and just moved straight up with 2 suitcases of luggage like a lot of people do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you don't have, so you're like me. I have one bin in America now. Like, I officially have one of those plastic bins.
Like a big Rubbermaid box full of stuff. Here, Mom, hold on to this.
Right. So it's in my brother's attic, and it's sitting up there. But and what it is it's literally like pictures and, you know, that stuff that really has no value to it except for me anyway. But what I did was, when I went home last time, I took it all out and I laid it all over the driveway and took pictures of it all. The greatest, smartest thing I've ever done was take pictures of all that stuff because it's in my phone now.
Nice.
So I have more enjoyment out of it now because I can go back and look at, a flyer I did from a promotion I did in, 1986. I can actually see it. In that box, you never see it,
Yeah.
And so if that box got burned up now, so I literally have nothing in America that if it went away that would affect me in any way anymore, so which is a cool deal. So you've experienced that. So like all the stuff in America is detached from you. So stuff is gone.
I got the box at grandma's house, and I'm definitely going to try that trick. And
Oh man, I'm telling you got to take a picture.
That's like a power trick.
Yeah,
It is.
I like that too.
Because we only get to have that experience of that, memory rush when we look at that stuff, when we go through it, and we don't often get to go through it. But if I just have a little file on my phone where I've edited the pictures down now, and made the ones that I really like, and man, it's just the greatest thing on earth. You just go through
Nice.
it, and it brings those memories back. And it's the same thing. There's no difference in the tangible touching it or looking at the picture.
Sure.
It's the memory trigger, and that's really what it's about. So
I'm on it.
yeah, next time you're home, take pictures of them.
Thanks, brother.
All right, so you went out, you're teaching some yoga and you've said, okay, I've figured out. Well, now, you made a big jump because I think the important part is that first start. Well, I didn't make much money on SEO. Well, like you kind of skipped over that quick because that's the hardest thing to actually make any money starting this stuff. I mean, that first dollar I think is the most important. So let's talk about the first dollar. Okay, I'm done. I'm off the hamster wheel. What makes you decide to do SEO?
Okay.
And
Right.
let's talk about and define SEO and what you're doing too, because I think that's important. What is the actual business? Because there's SEO as far as were you doing Google ads or were you right into Amazon affiliate out of the gate?
So,
And how did you find that? Like,
Yeah.
what one day went, oh, that's the deal. Was it when you were in Chiang Mai or how did that happen?
no, so this was back between Freakout number 1 and Freakout number 2. And believe it or not, being a yoga teacher isn't that lucrative, at least not.
I would imagine.
No, I didn't.
It's a shame because they do a lot of good, but basically it's not enough to support myself. So I started to look at other stuff, and right around that time is like when I got my first gift of the 4-hour work week. That I'm sure you guys have read it, right? Oh yeah.
I actually keep it in my phone and revisit it, the audiobook.
Yeah?
Yeah, and revisit it on a regular basis.
It's
Yeah.
a really good idea.
I'm going to tell you guys the inside secret. I never read the 4-hour work week.
Okay.
But here's why. Like, I just recently started listening to the podcast. Like, I never focused on what other people were doing. Like, I was inherently born with the 4-hour work week.
Oh, cool.
Literally, like, because I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I mean, I was like, just that's who I was. I was starting a business. I started my first business at 12 years old. So like, I've never worked for anybody. So I had that tune in. How do I, and so my whole life I've lived with this optimization thought process of little as I can, work as little as I can, find the most efficient way. And I was good at business because I was creative. I was that creative person. Like, how can I do this cheaper than anybody else? And so I was in the restaurant and nightclub business for 20 years. And so I was the greatest opener ever. Like, I could create the most amazing looking places in the world on shoestring budgets, and because I just learned how to hack systems. And so, like, I talk to people all the time about Tim Ferriss, and I'm opening that door now, but like, I lived all the stuff that he's in there, like all of those things that people tell me, and I go back, oh yeah, that's a Tim Ferriss, you do it. I just didn't. It just happened to be kind of in me a lot, I guess, that hack of my life. So it was kind of natural. I mean, a little different than a lot of people. But
Good for you. I did not have that innate ability.
You were an engineer. Like, I'm a creative. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, I'm more artist than anything. And that just means that I can brainstorm. Like, I could sit down and brainstorm a million things in a minute. I'm an idea guy. So it's just a different, way our brains are,
Mm-hmm.
But if you want me to put stuff in order and do that, like, engineering stuff, I'm out. Like, I'm in big trouble. So you're not making much money with the yoga.
Yeah. Got the 4-hour work week and gravitated towards it immediately. Yeah, I got it right off the bat. Like, it just made sense right off the bat. And I was in San Diego, and I went to meetup.com, and I noticed there was like a 4-hour work week book club, like where people they basically meet up every week, and they would discuss different parts of the book and where they're at with their muses. You remember that? Yeah. The muses. And so I went and started going to them, and most people there were doing SEO. They were taking a course called the 30-Day Challenge. It was by a marketer named Ed Dale. I think he's an Aussie. And so the idea behind this course was you build a website and you send some backlinks to it, and by the end of 30 days, you're supposed to make $1 online. And it's true. It's pretty effective. The SEO was really easy to do back then. But yeah, that was my
pre,
first.
like Panda, like how?
Oh yeah, before the animals, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
That was
So the good old days, the Wild West.
Good old days. Yeah. I didn't capitalize.
Did you get punched in the face with Panda?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. I've had my.
Like I mean, dude, like this whole Panda. Like I don't know reason because I'm not an SEO guy, but I remember that. Like I remember some friends were making like $50,000 a month that like overnight went to zero. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, you got a several $100,000 a year business crushing life and gone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah, that goes with the territory. But yeah, that was my first dollar online, this 30-day challenge thing. I think I made a website about like ergonomic chairs. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
And you made $1. So how does that, okay, because to me, the first dollar you make online always like has this memory that like, because it's like the actual thought process, I actually did this and money actually came in. So like, do you recall, I mean, is that, because a lot of people I talk to, that first dollar, it's just like anything. It's like, this really can happen. Or was it a bigger
hook.
amount later? I mean, where was the hook when you went, oh my God, there is really money in this?
It took a while. I was a really big skeptic because, I don't know, I just had never had seen proof of anyone being an entrepreneur in my life. Well, my dad was an entrepreneur, but as my dad, he's my superhero.
Sure.
But for me and my peers, like everyone was a rat racer. So I didn't have any evidence of this. And even when I went to this book club and like there's other people doing it, I didn't see anybody killing it, right? Like everyone was kind of amateur. So even when I made that $1, I was like, okay, wow, that's pretty cool. I hope they actually send me the check because I'm just looking at it in dashboard.
Right.
Yeah, so like even when I moved to Chiang Mai, I wasn't like really crushing it that hard. I was making like $2,000, $3,000 a month. So
you skip over some super important, like, I wasn't doing that bad. 2,000, 3,000. That's huge amounts of money for people out there who are getting started. Like, you went from, I made $1 to like, I wasn't really killing that much. I was making a couple $1,000s a month when I moved to Chiang Mai. Like, people moved to Chiang Mai with like making $200 a month and trying to figure it out.
And trying to work it out, right?
He's out, I'm making, $30,000 a year on SEO.
I'm a super conservative engineer. Just let me have my idiosyncrasies.
Because, like, so what happened between $1 and 500?
Yeah,
because at some point you got better enough that you started getting checks. So like, okay, what was the first amount you got paid that you went,
okay, I can do something with this.
I can move to Chiang Mai? Like, I mean, there was a number, like how much, when you woke up one morning, you got your check and you got a transfer and it said this, how much money was that when you decided I can go to Chiang Mai and live?
$1,000.
Okay.
Because you look online and you see like how much does it take to survive in Chiang Mai, and you have those breakdowns. So I was like, okay, that's me. I'm the guy that only eats like one Western meal per month and stuff like that. So I had that figured out. This is pretty embarrassing. I did a calculation on what if the worst thing ever happened to me. What if like this SEO thing vanished, and then I have my nest egg, like how long could I last on that $1,000 spend per month? And it was like 60. I would run out of money when I was 68 years old, and I was like, I don't know if that's enough. But eventually, I still did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
I have the exact document right now.
You did it?
I know I have it today, even today. I call it my end of the world document. Like, I literally go through and I know exactly how much money I have in liquid capital, every place in the world, where the money comes from, and then how long I know I could live out in Chiang Mai if I had to. Like, I don't ever want to go back to the hamster wheel. Like, and I figured, you know what? Like, I can live a lot less conservative than I live now here, because you can live here for $1,000 a month. I don't care
that's possible.
any of these people get all pissed off and crazy about people saying you can't do it. You can absolutely live in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and Vietnam.
Locals do it for $350 a month.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you can do it. I mean, and at 1,000 you can live well. Like, I mean, you're not gonna live like a bum. I mean, you know what I mean? You're gonna eat great food. You're gonna eat whenever you want. You're gonna be able to go out. You can at 1,000 you can have a motorbike.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid $300 for my motorbike. It's not like it's expensive. Anyway, we'll get out of the Chiang Mai how you live money. But so you made $1,000. That was the deal, and that was just getting better at SEO. I mean, like, how were you learning at that time? So let's talk. So who then? Where did your education come from in this to get to that 1,000? Like, how did you learn? Because you went from this course that made $1. Did you continue to use this guy's course, or how did you educate yourself during that time?
So during this time when I was still in the States, the techniques that they were teaching in the course were pretty rudimental at this point, but the techniques that they were teaching, they were working pretty well. So I just made more sites and kept building more content on the sites, just scaling whatever that was. It was still in the ergonomic chair niche to the point that I moved to Chiang Mai. And then, like you said, the animals got me and got slapped eventually.
Yeah. So what was that your big first setback?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how did that day, like, tell me about that day when you wake up and an animal gets you?
Well, I looked at that document and I was like, okay, 68 years old, here we go.
Starting now.
No, I mean, it was the first Penguin, and Penguin is an algorithm that basically looks at the offsite signals that you have going to your site, so the backlinks going to it. It's pretty much what it boils down to. And yeah, what they were teaching in that course doesn't hold up. And actually, I got lazy too. Like, I strayed from my engineer roots, where as engineers, like, you don't believe anything, you just test everything. And I strayed away from that and started, just following like whoever the guru was at this point in time and listening like what they were saying on the forums, just doing and copying. And then I got slammed. Every single site got slammed. Income went to zero. Got up the 68-year-old file and just really, it was a shocker.
How did you rebuild from there? So you were doing okay, and then you get taken down to zero. Mm-hmm. How did you rebuild? Because you knew, okay, well, the way that I was doing it before isn't working anymore. So what did you put in place to actually get the ball rolling again?
Right. So good thing about Chiang Mai is there's a lot of people here doing whatever you're doing. Right. If you're doing SEO, you're doing FBA, like you are. So what we did is just my other friends in town, like, we bucked down, we had meetings, we're like, okay, that doesn't work anymore. What do you think could possibly be the solution, and why did you get hit? Tell me about why you got hit, and how can we extract out what the problem was and avoid that in the future. And at that point in time, this was like a really big paradigm shift for me as well. I had stopped taking anything for granted in terms of ranking techniques and SEO techniques. I simply just started testing everything myself. In terms of my growth as an SEO, that was the pivoting point. That's when everything really took off.
When you took control of the beast, basically.
Yeah.
Quit just trusting what other people were saying, and then just did your own testing. Either this works or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then you knew the formula at that point. Basically, you broke down the formula of success on your own and knew it was proven all the way through in what you were doing.
Yeah, and it's continued this whole time. Like, I have an full-time R&D department. At least 30 to 40% of my profit goes to R&D.
Really?
Yeah. And that's just because the algorithm doesn't stop. It gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So Matt, at this point in the show, we always like to do what we call the digital toolbox. Like, what's in your digital toolbox? It's just a little segment, gives us a break, and then we'll get back into the story. But so what kind of digital things are you consuming? Like, what kind of media are you consuming? So what podcast are you watching right now or listening to?
Podcasts. I somehow I've avoided podcasts for a long time. Just I wanted to say focus on work, but what a shame.
Yeah, me too. I found the same exact deal. I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's a lot of idle time. I'm doing cardio and stuff. Why not listen to the podcast, right?
Instead of music sometimes. I've been doing that, swapping out music for podcasts, and it, like, education, man, like, just putting good information in your brain, even if it's just listening to other people and other entrepreneurs. And I avoided that. Like, that's why I didn't do Tim Ferriss, because I was always like, I got my own plan. I don't need their plan. I'll just do this on my own and figure it out. And it's probably a mistake. I'd probably be much richer now if I would have done that. But, learn. I'm still young enough that it's okay. So.
Right.
So what podcasts?
So I'm on Tim Ferriss, or I'm listening to Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's pretty good.
I love Joe Rogan.
It's good, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, I love Joe Rogan.
Right. I like hardcore history, just to stay away from business a little bit. Also staying away from, or separate from business. You guys ever hear the Sleep With Me podcast?
No.
I have a tough time sleeping, but this dude, he just tells like rambling stories, and you listen to it, you're out.
Nice.
Really? I need to do that random stuff, because I've been having a hard sleeping here lately myself.
Yeah, check it out. It's better than Ambien.
All right.
Nice.
So those are the podcasts. Like, what sites are you reading media-wise right now? Like, what kind of, visual reading kind of stuff are you doing? Are you reading any books right now? Are you a reader?
Yeah, I try to at least at all times read some kind of nonfiction. right now I'm reading Russell Brunson's, expert secrets and .com secrets.
That's big right now. He's promoting the heck out of it, and
yeah, I thought I should take a look.
Well, hey.
What about tools? Like, because you're an SEO guy.
Yeah.
So for people that are like, hey, I want to know what the best tools are right now to help me, for my keyword research to learn how to do it. What kind of tools are you using for your business?
Yeah, so the must-haves, at least for me, are Ahrefs. It's like a backlink checker, like you said, but these guys are like hot out of the gate right now. They're installing a bunch of different features that are just must-haves for SEO.
And what's that called again?
Ahrefs, Ahrefs.
Okay, Ahrefs. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, they're doing real good right now. But I try to stay away from like too many like software. Softwares means automation, which means lack of control, and that's kind of not a good thing for an SEO. But I don't know, my entire business runs on Zoho Docs, which is like, online document system. There's a bunch of little tools here and there, but nothing like really essential. They're just kind of nice to have. But in SEO, I think there's not too many must-haves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, as far as SEO is concerned, which this is a little bit outside of the digital toolbox or the what's in your toolbox part, but as far as SEO is concerned, for people that are not familiar with SEO and they're actually wanting to get into, hey, I'm interested in SEO, or hey, I just want to learn how to do SEO correctly for my own website or something like that. What are some foundational things that people need to keep in mind when they're entering the world of SEO?
Sure. Yeah, so SEO means search engine optimization. If you have a website and that website you're trying to sell blue sweaters, then obviously when someone types in blue sweaters on Google, you want to be ranked higher so you get that traffic and you can hopefully convert them. It's a challenging job, very challenging, because right off the bat, we're trying to rank on Google. That's the dominant search engine. But Google doesn't really like us, because if we exist, then people can just pay us to get their sites ranked higher organically. If SEOs don't exist, then people have to resort to PPC, which is how they make money. So it's in their best interest to make it challenging for us. And there's a side artifact of that is, the main approach for them is they just want to deliver a better result. But at the same time, it makes it hard for people to have control over their rankings. So how do you get good rankings? It starts with the website itself. How do you optimize the site? Where are you putting the keywords? Are you putting the keywords on your pages in such a way where it doesn't look spammy? Because that's the main goal of Google, to try to weed out manipulators. So you want to optimize, but at the same time, don't over-optimize. Don't make it look obvious that you're manipulating the search engine. And then at the end of the day, Google is Google because they relied on one very important ranking signal to kind of indicate whether a site is good or not, and that's backlinks. So that's why they pulled ahead of the other search engines back in the day, because they said, okay, we're going with backlinks. This one is really good indicator of whether a website's good or not. So that's what you have to look towards. You got to get good backlinks. You got to get backlinks with power, and they have to look natural.
Now, how would you identify a website that has power, so to speak? I mean, I know, not to give away secrets or anything, but how do you?
We need some secrets. That's all we need. Hey, I'm sitting at the house. I think this is where we're going. We're sitting at the house. Okay. Hey, you're talking to me. Listen, I want to I'm jumping off the hamster because there's a guy right now listening out there, a girl right now listening, thinking, all right, Matt's inspired me. I want to get off, and I've been looking at a lot of stuff, and I want to get in the SEO business. I want to be in that.
Or I just want to rank my website better. I just want, I have this website. I'm trying to get some traction on it. I'm trying to rank it better. Like,
what would you do today to tell me how to get started, or to start to make my website rank better right now?
Yes. So start with on-site optimization. I have a guide on my website. Not trying to pitch anything here, but it's free.
Oh, feel free.
We're going to allow you to pitch stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and plug it now also, just in case anybody bails in between now and then.
Diggitymarketing.com, D-I-G-G-I-T-Y, marketing.com. But I have a free on-site optimization handbook guide, which people say is pretty good. So follow that and get your site optimized. Because in SEO, it's like a car race, right? Your car is your actual website. And then the links is like the gasoline you put in your car. If you don't have a good car, you can have the best gasoline on the planet, it's just not going to go anywhere, right? So you start with the car, you start with the website. And then like you said, is to get the best links that you possibly can. And remember, the algorithm's founded on backlinks. So what's the best kind of link you can get? A link from a site that also has good links.
All right, so let's like, just because there's probably people that have no idea. I mean, maybe when you're at, what is actually a backlink? So I understand, because that may be someone out there listening. I don't know,
great question.
Backlink. What's a backlink?
Right. You're on a web page and you're reading a story and you see a specific piece of text that's highlighted. It's usually blue, right. And then you click it and you leave that site. You go to another site. That's a backlink.
So that means what you're looking for is other people to put your site on their site.
Nailed it. Yeah,
okay,
that's it.
Because that's what gives you the juice. So if I've got a great website that's been around for 10 years and it's ranked well and it does all this, and I actually put my link on my page, then that makes it look like I'm more legitimate because your site is referring to my site.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. There's other factors involved. It needs to be niche relevant, right? So if your site's about golfing and my site's about marketing, it's not really going to have as much weight as if my site was about golfing as well, right?
All right.
Now let's go over some myths, because there's some things that I've heard that are true, and things that, they're all, one camp says, oh yeah, this is really important, another camp says, this isn't important at all. So actual keywords themselves, putting the actual keywords in the metadata, does that still matter?
There's a few different types of metadata. So there's like the meta description that does not affect ranking. So like the little field on your site where you fill out the description, that doesn't count. The keywords doesn't either.
Okay.
But some people call it the meta title, which is like, it's, without getting too techie, it's just something you fill out. But that one is very, very impactful for rankings, the meta title. Yeah.
So like I know on YouTube, one of the things that we do on YouTube is basically whatever keyword phrase that you're trying to rank for. You also want to try to put that in your description somewhere. You also want to try to put that in your tag somewhere. And of course, the weight gets less, for each of those. And the most important thing, like, in a similar way, is also the title. But on an actual website, is that a similar thing to where, like, whatever title you're using, you want to make sure that you also put that in there somewhere as well, and natural language and all that stuff, so it doesn't seem like you're trying to stuff anything?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would say the most important things on a website like the most important real estate on a website for putting keywords is your SEO title tag, which is like, it comes up in the code, and then the page title, which is like an H1, like your first heading, and then your URL itself. You have keywords in the URL, it's a major bonus.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, see, that's a good one too, because I've also seen that was one of those things that people are like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what your URL is anymore and things like that. So that's excellent that you've cleared that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Do you do any YouTube related SEO stuff?
No.
Okay, so you're website focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're gonna have a conversation maybe after this about some YouTube stuff as well, because there's some exciting stuff that I see from my end that I think with the affiliate business that I think could be very cool.
I want to introduce you to my friend Holly. She's coming here for the conference I'm doing in November.
Okay.
And she's a wizard.
What is that conference?
The
for anyone
listening?
SEO,
the Chiang Mai SEO conference.
Okay.
So if you're out there and you're sitting here listening, you're thinking, man, I got to make a move, and you're ready to jump off the hamster wheel, that may be a great opportunity if you want to get into the SEO business. So like, I know it's getting full, but like, tell us a little bit about the conference and what you're doing there.
Yeah. So like last few years, we've had masterminds. So a bunch of high-level SEOs come to Chiang Mai, and we just have a private mastermind. And then this year, we just decided let's up the ante. Like, I wanted to have presentations this year, but if we're having presentations, let's do it for the public. And then one thing led to another, and that's a full-blown conference. And like you said, it's going to be good for newbies too, because there's a decent chunk of presentation that's going to be geared towards people starting out. Like my friend Daryl's going to be talking about like how to get your first clients. So that's perfect, right? And then even for advanced people, like some of the presenters are talking about some really cutting edge SEO tactics.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you were talking about some advanced stuff. Just real quick, just blow our minds with something advanced. Something that probably won't make sense to either of us, but to somebody that's in the SEO field, when they're listening to this, they're going to say, oh yeah, this guy's good.
Okay, so this is like getting into some really SEO-y stuff. So like there's two camps when it comes to SEO tactics. There's the black hat SEOs, which is, using techniques that are outside Google's terms of service. And like you were mentioning before, what kind of website is good to get links from? Like with black hat SEO, you can just buy an old website. Someone let it expire. I'll take it, repurpose the content, and use it as a link farm for myself.
Right.
So that's black hat SEO or gray hat, whatever you want to call it. Then on the other side, there's the white hat SEO, where you're following Google's terms of service, and you're doing like maybe outreach or like doing guest posting and stuff like that, which is also gray area on whether it's terms of service or not. But it's just more kosher, right? These two camps hate each other. Like they talk shit on each other all the time. White hat guys say, these guys are gaming the system. They make the user experience for the entire world worse because they're spamming people. The black hat guys say, hey, you guys are, wasting money. Like, why does it take you so long to rank? Stuff like that. I try not to buy into anything. I'm a result hat SEO, I guess. So I don't really assume that one side is better than the other. I just rely on test results for my answers. So basically what my main tactics are right now is a nice solid combination of using techniques from both of these, and some of them in conjunction. Like you can surround, like you can say your first tier of links. So you got a site and it's getting a bunch of backlinks. Those can all be white hat backlinks, but why don't you hit those in the back with black hat ones? So on first glance, it looks completely clean, but in the background, it's got some power behind it because you're spamming in those sites in the back.
I was just at the Empire Flippers event,
retreat
in
cool.
In Phuket, and we stayed at MTV Cribs, crazy.
Beautiful.
There's a new video
spot.
up. It's on the EmpireFlippers.com website about it too. It's amazing. Anyway, so MTV Cribs house. But anyway, I met some guys there who are doing what you're doing, and one of the guys, he literally has, and it's just something I heard that I thought was really unique was he's got. He's got VAs, and all they do is contact website guys. If he's in the golf niche, he's just contacting every golf, they reach out to the owners of the site and just communicate with them and try to get them to get links and stuff. So he's hardcore everyday work, and he just has someone who does that and just tries to get those links. And I just thought that was something that seems very simple. You got a VA just reaching out to people, and there's a bunch of people out there who maybe not huge SEO people, but the guy has got a golf website, he does some stuff. He's not maybe thinking, he's just doing his blog or whatever, and you get him to do that. To me, I think anytime you reach out to anybody, if I reached out to you on your website and asked you a question, most people on their websites are, they're not used to tons and tons of people coming at them, I would imagine. So getting those things. And he's being very successful at what he's doing. And I know he just sold his first business. That's one of the things I wanted to talk with you about too, because I think it's important. So we talked about some of your money, but let's talk about the money, because I know that at this point you have worked with Empire Flippers, and that's how we got here ultimately. So how many businesses have you sold through Empire Flippers at this point?
Through Empire Flippers, I think about 9 websites.
All right.
I've sold a few outside. Sorry, guys. But yeah, about 9 in total.
About 9 websites in total.
Yeah.
So you sold 9 different transactions. And
some of them were bundled together like we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, okay. So at this point, we know you're successful. So this course, tell me about this course that you're putting together that you're going to help other people with, and what that course will be able to do for them to be able to jump off their, off of their hamster wheel.
Yeah. So it took a while. I have a blog, Diggity, at diggitymarketing.com, and I really do like helping people. At the end of the day, right, it doesn't take much to survive in Chiang Mai, and at a certain point, you're not going to spend it anyways. So a big part of me is wanting to give back and wanting to help people get out of this rat race thing. Like I told you, I was going to work at Subway, man. I really have there's a soft spot in my heart that I want to share this with other people. And so I've been having my blog for a while, and then at the blog level, writing articles, there's only so much you can teach, and there's a lot of stuff that I teach through coaching or teach my apprentices that I wanted to share with more people. So we decided to make a course. Not just me, but some other industry leaders in the fields of, client SEO, running an agency, Facebook ads, e-commerce SEO, and white hat SEO as well. And so we all decided to band together and make this super, super course. It's called The Lab.
Okay.
And we're hoping to release it pretty soon.
So we get back to that price of what education should be. I would encourage you, don't feel bad about spending money on getting yourself educated. Go out there and do the research on the people that you're maybe buying that course.
Yes.
Every single person, if you're going to buy a course and you're going to spend $1,000 to $5,000 on a course, okay, well, the point is do the background research on those people. See what other people are saying. Don't get, and I can tell you this: if there's a picture of them standing on top of the front of a Lamborghini, it says I'm the king of whatever it might be. Maybe you want to avoid those guys. But if you see a guy and you want to get yourself educated, don't feel bad about spending money on education. Just do research in the education more than you are than anything else, because you can't get yourself educated on your own. Now,
there's also something to be said for current information also.
Right, absolutely.
If you go and you hop on YouTube, for example, and you're trying to dig up information on YouTube about SEO, in a lot of cases you'll watch videos that are 6 months old or, something like that. And with the internet, everything's changing so fast and all the technology's changing so fast that, being a part of a course where somebody's on top of this stuff, and they're sharing what's current, what's going on right now, and keeping everything updated with that kind of information, extremely valuable.
You have zero foundation if you're going to start. Like, you're working, you're a software engineer, and you've never done business. Like the learning curve for you to try to figure all this out on your own, start and do the research. Can it be done? Absolutely. But do you want to do it in the next 5 years? Or you want to do it in the next year? Right. And that's the reality. And I call it the burn time. And people come to Chiang Mai. So what business should I get it online? Which business should I get online? Okay, well, let's talk about your money. Like, how much money do you have? Because if you're making zero money now, how much money do you have that you can invest in a business, and how long do you have before that money will pay out? And that's that burn time. So if you don't have a lot of money, you better get in something that you can put your time in. So I've got a lot of time, but I don't have any money. So then that's going to change your scenario and what kind of business. And the greatest thing about SEO is that it's a relatively small threshold as far as money to enter into it. So you're going to spend more money on education, which will get you there quicker, but you don't have to put a lot of money up front. Building a website, those aren't, you don't have to buy my Amazon business. I got to come up with $60,000 in the next 10 days for inventory for Christmas.
Yeah,
and that's real hard money, and with a website, you can start building. I mean, imagine you can build a how much would it cost me to start? If I want to build a website today that I'm going to start, how much would it cost me to get started in reality?
Register the domain, maybe like $7 to $12, depending on the extension.
Hosting,
and if you really wanted to bootstrap it, you could write all your content. So that's pretty much it. But at the end of the day, it takes money to make money with SEO.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And backlinks, you can get them naturally, completely white hat, but it's going to take a long time.
So a guy could be out there doing like what that other guy that's got a VA, they could be the one contacting, hey, Joe, you're working at Golf Digest, I got this golf, could you help me out? And that kind of stuff as well. Okay. I guess that's going to lead into this next question, which is probably the most important thing, because our quality of life, and that's what changed for me most by making this decision to be in the digital business, which is allows me to make the choices and do the things I want to do. So talk to me about your life, and are you successful in your mind right now? Are you a success? And what makes your life good today better than what it was? I mean, give me that a little bit of insight into,
what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm very grateful for freedom of time, to be able to choose what I'm doing when I'm doing it, and freedom of location. Super grateful for this. And in terms of success, for me, I define success as a balance of, family, health, and wealth. And I would say right now I'm a little bit unbalanced. I'm definitely working a lot. I can't really even figure out if it's because I truly enjoy my work. I really do enjoy my work, but there's other things that I don't really care about anymore, like playing video games and watching series. I don't think it's as fun as working. Does that mean I'm addicted, or does that mean I really enjoy
I'm the same
work?
way. I would rather sit in front of my computer and work on editing a video or basically working out the flow of how, a video comes in, then I have to, send it to an editor and, basically getting that flow together and all of that. I would rather spend time doing that than watching Game of Thrones.
Sure.
Or, any of that stuff. But yeah, I'm
okay.
I'm
That's
there
because
with
we
you.
like what we do. And that's the same thing that happens with me too. Like I get guilty when you're not working enough. But I work all the time. If I'm sitting at the house, you got two choices. You guys could sit and watch TV at your house, or you can pull out your computer and watch that and make stuff happen and read and watch YouTube channels and do all that stuff in front of you. I mean, I sit in front of my TV now almost exclusively now, and I just watch YouTube on my TV. I Chromecast it there, and I just watch, whether it's podcasts or I'm watching, you know, how to get better on YouTube, you know, whatever it might be. That's what I do. So it's because we love what we're doing. And that tells you you're doing the right thing. Because if you'd rather you're interested in what you're doing more than watching Game of Thrones. I think we waste so much time in nonsense, and we're like, oh my gosh, well, how can I do it? I don't have time. Well, just go look at how much time you're wasting not, you know, interested. My daughter is, you know, starting to get into the online. She wants to start her own YouTube channel. And I said, listen, I want you to quit fooling around with your social media. Like, every time you're doing anything, you need to be reading some kind of article about this and just learning and be in that constant learning phase.
Take action.
Take action. And that's what we're doing. And so that guiltness about not working, my buddy said, you work all the time. I never see anybody works more than you, Rob. Well, it's because, like, there's no distinguishment. I think that's a problem for us sometimes. There's no distinguishment between what work is and what work is, and we end up working all the time, but it doesn't feel like work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, thanks, guys. I feel better about it.
Yeah.
But either that or we all have a problem.
Yeah, there's three
but you know what?
same problem.
Hey, you know what? Let's have that problem, because guess what? We all live on our own terms, where we want to live. We make decisions. You know, there's nothing that wouldn't prevent you right now. You and I both could say, hey, what are you doing? Hey, let's run over to Koh Samui for the next 5 days.
Sure.
You know, and if you didn't have a conference or some other engagement, we could hop to the airplane, go down there and stay there for a month. I mean,
right, yeah.
You know, 2 weeks ago I was in Phuket for 2 weeks, and I didn't have a return ticket. I was just there. And one morning I woke up and said, okay, today's the day to go home. And I went home, you know. I checked out a hotel and went to the airport, and it was done. I mean, you know, you can make those decisions. And whether that's for a guy who's at his house who's jumped off the hamster wheel and he's now, you know, working on his SEO business, he can go to his kid's baseball game, or, you know, go spend time at the park with his family and have a picnic, or go on a vacation or do whatever. It doesn't mean you have to travel the world, and, you know, that I always
and that's part of doing things on your own terms as
right.
well.
It's just really, you know, doing it on your own terms.
Yeah, it might be more efficient to work at night so that you can spend more time, like you're talking about with the balance. You can spend more time with your family, you know, when your family's available, instead of, you know, having to make that time to where, okay, well, now everything syncs up. So we can spend some time together. Instead, you can kind of make that happen. Exactly. Where it's like, okay, well, they're working a normal job, so their schedule's like this, but I'm flexible. So if they have a day off, then I can take a day off. If they get off work at this time, then I can stop working at that time too, just so we can spend some time together to nurture the relationship, which is what's, you know, most important.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe success just boils down to freedom of choice. And my choice seems to be work a lot, but
but what is work? Like, okay, compare what you do on a daily basis now. Okay, so you're done today and you got some work to do, or tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and you're going to work. All right, well, what does that consist of in comparison to the stress and the nonsense when you're an engineer? Like, that's work to me. Yeah. Work is going and doing something that I don't enjoy doing, but I grunt through it because I have to.
Sure.
That's work.
Yeah.
So I don't think we ultimately work anymore. I don't think what we do is work anymore. No. Like, it's like our hobby, something we enjoy, has become the way in which we make money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of it. And the great thing is in your business, the only reason you're working so much is because you're doing this course and you're putting together an SEO conference. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going. If you take that out of your deal, you know, I mean, you've automated a lot of the things in which you do, I'm sure, at this point in your business. And the amount of time that you actually have to stand doing it is not, you know, a crazy amount, I would imagine. And I don't know inside your business, but you know, you're working now because you got a lot of other great stuff happening, and
sure.
You know, and that you're sharing your information, which I think is, you know, super good too.
Sure. Yeah, just let me have a little bit of room for self-doubt. I'm half Japanese, so I have to push myself. So that's what that is.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. You're a rock star. I'm going to ask one more question, and we're going to get out of here. And thank you so much for your time. I think what you shared is very important to people who are out there to understand the stories of the entrepreneurs who are successful in making this happen, to help them. So I'm out there, and I'm a guy who's sitting at my house right now. And if you could talk to yourself again, the way you would talk to that guy who's sitting out there right now, what would you tell him? He's stuck in his job. What would you tell him he needs to do now?
He's standing in Subway. He's getting ready to go to Subway, or he just came back from Subway and he saw those people and he's thinking the same thing. What would you recommend? What would you say to yourself?
I would say, dude, I get it that you're scared. all evidence that we're raised with, that we get educated with, everything points to saying that you need to get that education, you need to get that job, and you need to move up that ladder. And I get it. It's hard to go against the grain on that. But if you have any kind of ambition about anything, I don't care if like you're really hardcore into video games. If you've ever gotten good at anything, you can get good at this too. I never thought I would exceed my career as a engineer. And yeah, that's my engineer life has been dwarfed by what I'm accomplishing now.
Nice.
So take action. It's possible. Just because you don't see it that often, it's just because we're raised in a place that doesn't educate it.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah. And another reason that people don't see it is because, it's often that people do leave.
Yeah.
People do leave, or they're just not in your immediate circle because they're living an entirely different life. And they're living in an entirely different universe than you are because of how they're able to structure their day, because of, the things that they're able to enjoy, because they're not spending, that extra, hour in a commute, or taking an hour of a lunch break that's still technically on somebody else's clock because you're limited to the how far you can go before you
right.
Okay, well, I've got an hour lunch break, so that means I only have to go somewhere that's 15 minutes away so that I can make sure that I get back in time and all that stuff. So,
right. And
yeah.
Another funny thing about it is here, like in Chiang Mai, we never see the other personality. We don't see the rat racers ever. That doesn't exist here. So
it doesn't exist.
It's just an environmental thing.
Yeah,
which is awesome because everybody you meet, it's like-minded folks. So like everybody you meet, it's they're all on their own path, of course, but it's like but it's still like-minded people that don't have the rat race mentality, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I know. People who do what we do keep showing up here in Chiang Mai. And, originally we were going to do some of these interviews and things, online and, and meet people. And I'm sure eventually we will. But the problem is your guys are going to come in November. I'm going to come over there and we're going to interview some of those guys for the podcast. You know what I mean? There's so many people. And starting in November, so many people come here. And I guess that's what I was going to sum up with is put yourself around people. If you're sitting at your house and you don't have people like who do this, go online and find them. Go find forums, go find Facebook groups, go in there and start participating and make those people your friends. Like, you know what, if someone, and maybe not at this point, but I mean, I have a guy right now. He's been emailing me for 2 months, asking me to be his mentor. Like, hey, Robbie, please be my mentor. Please be my mentor. He doesn't have any money, doesn't have anything. And so, yesterday I'm like, okay, dude, I'll mentor you. So I'll commit to talking to him, once a month and like helping him with his deal. But he just was persistent enough. He kept saying the right things, and I'm like, okay, I'll give you my time because it was value. He had it. So if you want to learn from people, listen. Most people who are in this business are easy to find and easy to talk to. They're not like this isn't like you're talking to Gary Vee or you're trying to talk to Tim Ferriss. There's a lot of guys out there making millions of dollars who will answer your email. Reach out to them. They might tell you to jump in a bridge. Who cares? There's thousands of them, but get yourself involved in some communities and surround yourself with people. The people in your life that are telling you no, that you can't do this, don't have an understanding. They're blinded by their life and they're blinded by the lack of vision that everybody else has, that you're stuck on this wheel. So get yourself off that wheel by putting people who have that vision outside of that and ignore the people who don't have that vision. They don't understand the opportunity you have in front of you to change your life and change every single thing about your life.
And it's your life. At the end of the day, it's your life.
Right. Mm-hmm. Go out there and be happy and enjoy it. We're sitting with 3 guys right now who have pretty good lives, and I'm grateful that you were here to share your information. I'm sure a lot of people will be grateful, and I think every time we do this show, I know there's people out there listening, and I know they're making choices to change their life, and I love it. If you want to reach out and talk to me or Nick, you can reach me on Facebook at Rob Fortney Jr.
You can reach me at nickniman.com. Matt, if people want to find you, where do they find you?
DiggityMarketing.com.
And they can find out about your SEO conference. They can find out about your course, I'm sure, soon.
Sure.
So make sure you check Matt's stuff out. Hey, please keep tuning in, and we're going to keep trying to answer your questions and give you some inspiration and give you the real inside feelings that people have. That was one of the things Matt talked about, like getting to share your feelings. And I think that's really what we're trying to share, is our feelings of how this works inside of you, because your feelings ultimately are what's going to let you have success and know what happiness is, and getting over some of those things will help you out a lot. We'd appreciate if you rate us on iTunes. If you're listening right now, hey, go in there and say something something nice about us. This the first part when you get on iTunes, it's really important for people to really leave comments and vote yes, and give us some information. It really helps us being featured.
5 stars appreciated.
5 stars appreciated. You've been listening to the Digital Journey podcast, helping you navigate your online business voyage. If you're interested in searching for an online business to buy or sell, you can check out empireflippers.com. They are the leading place if you are interested in buying or selling an online business. Hey, the thing is Matt, you sold these businesses. There's guys out there still making money on businesses that you set up and sold to them right now.
Absolutely.
And and the amount of return that you can make on a page, you're talking about a business that you can put in 24 months and get your money back on a business in 24 months if it doesn't grow at all. Like, that's unheard of. You can go invest $100,000 and get your $100,000 back in 24 months. Doesn't happen. Then that means you're in positive cash flow after 2 years if you do nothing but not grow the business. If you're at 30 times it may, but the bottom line is it's a great investment. So if you're looking to buy an online business or sell your online business, if you're already in there, it's a great place, empireflippers.com. Hey, thanks for coming in. Hey, Nick, I'll see you later. Matt, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
See you, Rob. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
You're listening to the Digital Journey podcast. The Digital Journey is brought to you by Empire Flippers, the largest marketplace for selling and purchasing online businesses. empireflippers.com.